So a couple of years ago, me and Jaws D went to the Montreal Nuit Blanche, and they were having a little indie video game festival that was happening in downtown, and me and him checked it out, and we saw a whole bunch of local developers that were making a whole bunch of games, but one game caught our eye all those years ago, and that was that of A.N.N.E by GamesByMo. And I talked with the creator, I bought some of the pre-order merch all those years ago, the little controller, the retro pack with the Super Nintendo styled little packaging, and then nothing came of it. And it kind of went into limbo for a long while, and then out of nowhere, something came up. And a beta build of the early development of the game has come out. And here today on Gaming Well Wasted, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to play it. So, this is Protoman, and let's do this. So here we go, the A.N.N.E private beta. Created by GamesByMo, a local indie developer here in Quebec, specifically from the Sherbrooke area. I'm located in Montreal, so it's not too far away from there. And this is the game. Now, A.N.N.E was a game that started way back in 2012, and I met the creator Mo, oh my goodness, I think it was like 4 years ago or 3 years ago. And I was pretty hyped about this game when I saw it all the way back then, being a big fan of modern Castlevania stuff and a little bit of Metroid, and it just gave me that little vein of what it could be. And so I was really behind it, and kind of went in development limbo for a while, and now we have finally a private beta, so we're going to jump into that. It's just a small segment of the game to really give you an idea of what you're getting into. And yeah, we'll jump right into it. This is version 0.07755. Still has a few little bugs in it here and there, but otherwise it gives you a good idea of the two segments of the game early on. It's more linear, just this beta. It doesn't really show too much the open world aspect of it, but it is an open world game. So when you start, you get to choose between two characters. The blue one here, the male, number 25, and the female A.N.N.E. Picking each one doesn't really make too much of a difference to the story from what it seems. It's just more the one that you pick is the one you're going to use, and the one that you didn't pick is the one you're going to rescue. So if you pick A.N.N.E, you got to rescue your loved one, number 25. If you pick number 25, you got to rescue A.N.N.E. So I'm going to take number 25 here, and we will get started. And we will first enjoy the little intro. Now we're introduced to the main ship that we'll be using in the game, known as the Great Whale. Kind of our base of operations for a lot of the stuff that we're going to do in the game. That's the planet Gami, which is a frozen planet that once was filled lush with environmental beauty, and now is used by the main villains in this game as a dumping planet for all the metal that they recycle. But you're here to rescue your loved one, depending on which character you picked. Nice intro there. In a world, robots live among humans. They are programmed to follow strict laws. One of these laws states that robots infected with love virus must be decommissioned. Decommissioned robots are sent to the planet Gami, where they are dismantled and disposed of. In a few minutes, this will be the fate of Anne, unless you can rescue her. And the difference here is if you picked Anne, then it would say this is the fate of number 25. So now we begin. And he emerges, and we get a very Metroid-sounding kind of opening theme. And the game begins. Now this is kind of your hub. I'm going to use the mouse as my interface here. You can use a Xbox controller. Usually I just use my Xbox controller. Or you could use the controller, the pre-order and controller that you could purchase. But I prefer the just using the mouse interface and the keyboard to get around. Kind of my love of shooters, and it makes it easier that way. Right, pretty much you have just your movement keys, you have your spacebar jump. Right now, just with this build, and you use the right click of the mouse to interact with stuff, and the left click to use your gun and weapons. I just want to just show off the bat. If you jump off, I know this is kind of silly to show this right off the bat, but you're right now in the atmosphere of Planet Gami. If you jump off, of course, you're going to fall to your doom here, right before the cloud break of the atmosphere. Bang. Take 999 damage. When you die, it shows this little icon here to show you where was the last point that you died at, so you could kind of get an idea of where it was the last place that you messed up. So that's pretty cool. So first portion of the game, they jump right into a shooter segment to infiltrate one of the bases where Anne is. You have a little Game Boy there. Nice little nod to that. So let's do that. Now in the shooter segment right now, at the moment, all you have is if you hit the space bar, you have this like force field that just pushes back stuff. If you right click near stuff of a smaller nature, you could use a tractor beam and then throw it at characters and cause damage to them. When you destroy certain things, whether it be the asteroids or opposing characters, there's these little green EC crystals that when you gather them, they help towards leveling up your character or your ship, depending on what you're currently using. If you're using the ship, you're leveling up your ship. If you're outside of the ship using your character, the ECs you pretty much gather are going to be used towards that, towards leveling up your character. And every character in the game also has their own individual level, which gives you an idea of how strong they are in the difficulty if you're fighting them. So that helps us know if you're getting into a battle you're not going to win. But right now it's just cruising along easily, just pushing these asteroids to kind of protect myself here. Just to give you an idea of how the game functions. That's why it's kind of easy at the beginning here. Now, this is a little mini-boss where it's essentially just buy yourself some time until he gets bored of you. One easy thing I like to do is just tractor beam his little turrets, throw it back at him. That way he can't take me out. Makes life easier. Very Gradius looking boss. Getting close now to the base we have to infiltrate here. So they ask you to dock your ship, which I will do. Now what's cool about this game is when you dock your ship, the way the scaling works is that everything zooms in. So if I jumped out of this ship right now and went down here, we're going to see all those characters that we just fought, but they're going to be large because, well, the scaling. So pretty cool. So now we're going to infiltrate the ship. I just wanted to show, actually, just to... If we went back in, so you could still go into the ship, and if we went above it, there's a whole bunch of defenses there, so we don't want to mess with that, so I'm going to do it old school and infiltrate the base. And there's Anne. Oh no, we got to rescue her. So we pick up our gun. Now we're going to be shooting. So same thing, anything you destroy or kill, there's going to be EC crystals to pick up to help towards leveling your character, or using as a form of currency to buy some upgrades. Now there's different ways that you could go about this level. You could go through the trenches, the little corridors, or you could just ride on top of Anne's cage here to get where you need to get to. Checkpoint. Now, I don't have to follow Anne because it's not really a race to protect her. It'll loop. Let's see, here's another way you could go about it. You could go through the corridor here and avoid confrontation in some areas, but not completely. So everyone's out to take you out. Especially these guys with these laser-guided snipers. Let's jump on this guy. Then we trigger our first little cutscene here. So we're introduced to what seems like it's going to be the bosses and the main antagonist villain. One of the guys in the center there looks a lot like Roadbuster from the Generation 1 Transformer toy line from 1985. It's pretty interesting. I wonder if there was inspiration there. So it looks like they're trying to recycle Anne and destroy her. She's holding on for dear life. Well, our main character, we can't really do anything. We're stuck here. And then we get shot down. And we fall out of the ship towards the planet Gomi, or Gomi. And then we see a rain of pink, implying that Anne has been recycled. And that's one of the main objectives of the game, is to collect the pieces of Anne to reassemble her and bring her back together. Or alternatively, if it was Anne that you were using, number 25. So, and that's it for pretty much for the beta build. It's just to give you a quick idea of how the game is going to be. This is just a development build, and gives you just a small little rundown of the side-scroller segment and the shooter segment. Again, this is going to be an open world, so it won't really be that linear. You'll be able to explore and find all kinds of stuff, and it looks really cool. I'm pretty excited about this. This is something that I was invested in many years ago, and then I thought it kind of just disappeared, and now it's back, and it's really trucking along nicely. And Mo by GamesByMo really has a lot of hope here that this is going to really develop into something big. So I really wanted to just talk about it and show it to everybody. And if you're interested, just go to GamesByMo.com, or just throw it in your Google machine, and you'll be able to find it. And you'll be able to pre-order the game and check out some of the little bonuses too, the controller and the little game pack and all the nice little retro stuff too. And that controller, it's pretty useful actually. So if you don't have a USB controller to play even your emulators and stuff like that, or your console games, it's a nice little thing to have too. But yeah, definitely check this out.